Hi guys, today we're gonna make reusable stencils using stencil vinyl, heat and bond, and sheer curtain as my mesh I got off of Amazon. So in order to do that, for the measurements, whatever your image you want to cut it, for me it's going to be a 3x3 image. So I want to cut my heat and bond an inch bigger than that. So it's going to be 4x4. And I want to cut my stencil a 1/4 inch bigger than what I cut my heat and bond. So that's going to be 4.5 by 4.5. So that's what I did here. The stencil is 4.5 by 4.5. The heat and bond is 4x4. And my image will be 3x3, which I'm going to cut with my Silhouette Cameo. Okay, so you want to put the heat and bond's going to have two different it's going to feel different on both sides. One side is going to be smooth, the other side is going to be rough. You want to put the rough side face down onto your stencil. It's going to keep flapping around everywhere, so I use heat resistant tape to tape it down, and I'm going to go and heat press it at 260 for I believe it was 5 to 10 seconds. You don't want to do too much, or the adhesive from your heat and bond is going to leak all over your stencil. That's why you want your stencil to be a little bit bigger. I used butcher paper to cover my stencil, but I would suggest usually using parchment or wax paper. So when the heat and bond, the adhesive kind of gets onto the wax butcher paper, it was stuck on it, so I had to reheat it and take off the backing really quick. So I would suggest using parchment paper for this. You'll know it's bonded because now if I take off the tape, it will be stuck together. Okay, so tape's off, there's stuck together. Okay, now we're gonna go cut out our image. Okay, so on my Silhouette Studio, I know my image is 3x3 and my stencil is 4.5 by 4.5. So under media, I have it as 4.5 by 4.5. And I know I put this in the center, so I know it will cut onto the heat and bond. For my settings, I did blade of 4 with my ratchet blade. Force is 24, speed is 3. Okay, it is all cut. Now to weed. So you can take off the heat and bond part of it. Okay, I took it off, and all that's left is the design. I'm using my handmade pen weeding tool. I believe there's a lot of videos of how to make one on YouTube. Okay, so now I'm gonna weed out my design. Okay, so I took out my heat and bond and I weeded out my design. Let's see if you can see it. So you can see the adhesive left over from the heat and bond. So we are going to grab the mesh. We are going to stick that right on top. We're going to heat that at 260 again for another 5 to 10 seconds. Okay. So that's about 10 seconds. And the mesh is pretty stuck on there. You can see it's attached to where we saw the heat and bond. And apparently I did not learn my lesson because I reused my picture paper when it already had adhesive on it from when we first attached the heat and bond. So I stuck it on again, and the leftover adhesive got stuck onto the adhesive right now. Okay, so this is basically it. All you need to do now is just cut around it, however big you want your stencils. That's why we made it a little bit bigger. And then we have our reusable stencil. Okay, so any questions, leave a comment down below.